Well, happy Monday, everybody. A new week means a new opportunity for the Vegas Golden Knights as we welcome you into City National Arena. I am Ashali Vise, joined by Deryk Engelland. Deryk, I don't want to bury any leads here. Happy to be doing this with you. But the good news already.
Always.
Yes, good news already. William Karlsson skating with the team today. Non-contact jersey, but he was injured early in preseason. Right off the bat, good vibes to start this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can get a guy like that back out for practice even, especially after a tough road trip, just brings up the morale with the group. You got the new guy back out there. I'm not a new guy, but a big part of this team and group and leadership group. So getting him back out there, just seeing him on the ice with the guys, I think that'll boost a lot of morales around the room.
We'll hear from Bruce Cassidy in just a little bit. He's probably meeting with the media here just in a few minutes. His practice is just wrapped up. But curious, he'll obviously give us a better idea of when we might see him in the lineup. Of course, there's steps that has to be taken. He has to be out of that non-contact jersey for a bit before we see that. But just right off the bat, what areas of the game does he touch the most? What do the Golden Knights miss the most when he's gone?
Man, I think he touches every part of the ice out there the way he plays. He's such a... drives offense, holds on the puck. He's so good defensively, face-offs, kills penalties, power play. He does everything. He's, ever since he's come here and when I played with him, I know he scored 43 goals the first year, but in my mind, I seen him more like a Jonathan Toews that does everything out there. And I still, to this day, think of him like him, and that's a great comparison, I think, for anyone if you can be prepared to him. But he does everything so well, and I think under Bruce, he's found his game again. He not that he struggled, but I think with his systems and everything, it really lets him play his game and get to his game. You've seen it last year and the year before, so I'm excited to see him back out there, and hopefully he's out there soon in a game.
Is there a part of his game you think maybe we don't talk about enough? Or even his personality?
I would say he's so good defensively. He's always in the right spot. Every coach says low and slow for the centerman. He's always there for the D. He's talking. He just makes it easy on everyone he's playing with. Defensively, especially, I wasn't quite the offensive guy, so I wasn't up there with him too much. But defensively, like I said, he's always in the right position. He's an option all the time, and then his speed is up there with anyone. So he's low and slow, but he catches up to everyone because of his speed. So it's just great. Like I said, he's a great player all around.
The Golden Knights coming off a tough road trip, so we're going to talk about that, but want to stay on the topic of practice news first because there were some adjustments that we saw because of what happened on that road trip. The defense pairs are back to what we saw. What we're used to seeing, I guess I should say. Noah Hanifin played a lot with Alex Pietrangelo when he was first acquired by the Golden Knights. He and Pietrangelo are now back together at skate today. Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb are together, which we've seen for a really, really long time here. And then Nick Hagan, Zach Whitecloud, who have played together, multiple levels and a ton here with the Golden Knights. I'm curious, now that it's kind of back to status quo, what you expect from that decor, when they're comfortable, when they're at their best.
Yeah, I think the chemistry that was built, Hag and Whitecloud as a third pairing, they're going to get a little bit easier matchups. But if they're out there against top guys, I don't think you can worry too much because they're, you talk to anyone around the league and they're one of the best third pairing D pairings. So you got that and the comfortability. Theo and McNabb have played together so long. McNabb very stay at home, lets Theo play his game more, and then you have two top D-men in this league playing together, and they're going to get the majority of the shutdown against the top units on every other team. So having them together, they both drive offense, they both break out pucks well, and maybe you see a little bit less time in our zone because of that. They can get back and get the puck out and let our forwards go to work. So I like the change. You've seen it last year, the chemistry that all those guys had together, and that chemistry, I think, goes a long way. Where the person's going to be and what they're doing normally.
So Shea Theodore now back on his offside. Obviously, something he's very comfortable with because we've seen him play that side with Braden McNabb for all these years. But I am curious what you saw when he had switched sides, was playing with Alex Pietrangelo. And I ask because do you know the last time he had played that side?
I don't.
When he played with you.
With me?
Back
That
in
was
year
the last
one.
time?
That
Yeah.
was the last time. So I guess I'm curious, you know, how you feel the game changes for him when he's on one side versus the other.
Yeah, I think I had to play the left side a couple times in Pittsburgh and in Calgary, and for me, I didn't like it too much because you're coming on your backhand a lot, and you know, in the neutral zone, you're facing your partner more than up ice. So, but some guys can do it a lot better. Theo's one guy that can, you know, he's such a gifted guy. I played with TJ Brody in Calgary, and he would prefer his offside, going back for pucks and stuff. But for me, just going around the net, breaking pucks out, you're always on your forehand. You have more options, and if you're coming on your backhand, you know, unless you're very comfortable on making a backhand pass, it's a little tougher. He's a lot more skilled than I was, so it might be a little easier for him. But I think the chemistry he has with Naber helps that out too. They can read off one another without the communication a little easier than getting used to guys being there.
Because of that, now when we were talking to him a lot at the beginning of the season, we said, are we making too much of this? And he said yes. To which I proceeded to ask, do we make too much of everything? And he said, probably, but it's your job. So I'm going to ask you, is there another adjustment period, or is it just he's jumping right back in with the guy that he's played with on the side that he's played with for so long? Should it be right back to what we're accustomed to seeing from those two?
Yeah, I think I don't think they're going to miss a beat. They played together for such a long time. They know how each other play and where they're going to be. And, you know, I think their game styles complement one another. You know, you have a very highly offensive guy and a very, not that Theo doesn't play defense or Naber can't play offense, but, you know, Theo can worry about pushing the play and offensive, and Naber's going to take care of the defensive side a little bit more. And Naber has some bite where Theo might not have as much, so that complements one another a little bit more. And, you know, I think they'll jump back in and get to where they were at in, you know, no time.
You mentioning the name Brayden McNabb and the word offense in the same sentence has me flashing back to Tampa when he scored that goal. It seems like nothing gets this team going quite like a Brayden McNabb goal. I'm curious if you think back to your playing days, what it's like when there's a guy who doesn't score super often, but does all the right things in every other area of the game. What is it about it that just, you know, is a spark for the team that gets the guys going?
Yeah, well, I was that guy too. I didn't score a whole lot of goals, so yeah, it's just, especially the way he scored. It's not like he just walked down and shot the puck in the net. You know, a little fake backhand toe drag around the guy and shoots. So when
on a good goaltender, let's
you
go ahead and establish that as well.
You know, I don't think Tampa was off to that start without Vasilevsky. So to beat him clean on that play, you know, it's adding that thing that, you know, he's a meat and potatoes guy if you ask anyone, and but he has that offensive ability and that skill that he can do that. And when you see a guy like that, or myself or anyone like that do something, I guess, out of the ordinary, it definitely hypes the guys up and it gets everyone a big boost. So to see it, I was in here doing the game, so to see that, you know, you're happy for him because you don't get that opportunity all the time. So
yeah, last season he had the best offensive season of his regular season NHL career. We saw him, you know, younger years, he was an offensive player. But when we would ask Bruce about it, when we would ask him about it, his teammates about it, it seemed like the consensus was he's a lot more offensive minded than we give him credit for in general. Even if it doesn't, you know, even if it's not in goals, there's things he's doing in the zone, being in the right places. I'm curious what you see from him from that standpoint.
Yeah, his offensive abilities is much more than he's known for, but I think he's known as a shot blocking, big hits, physical D-man, and you know what you're getting from him that way, and he's going to do it no matter what. He's going to sacrifice his body for the team, and he does it so well. And if there's one guy on this team that I know is going to come out and every single season play the exact same way, it's Brayden McNabb. He's going to play that game, what's got him here, and the offensive upside, it's all, to me, I was the same way. I'm sure he thinks the same way. It's just it's a bonus, but he's such a smart guy, like you said, always in the right position. He's always responsible defensively, but when he has the opportunity, he's going to jump and able to create that offense too.
So for those just tuning in, again, the Golden Knights going back to more familiar D pairs that we've seen, the last few years with Braden McNabb, with Shea Theodore, Zach Whitecloud, and Nick Hague together, and going back to Alex Pietrangelo and Noah Hannafin. Now, after the road trip, Bruce Cassidy has challenged his blue line and pointed out where, there are some areas to improve with that group. What role do Alex Pietrangelo and Noah Hannafin play in that? How do you view the role of that pair?
Oh, I think they're going to be out there against the Kucherov lines and the top lines on every team. And I think they're both, like I said earlier, they're both so good at breaking pucks out and making that first pass, getting the puck out of their zone. So they don't have to play defense against those top guys. They can play in the offensive zone, where you ask any D-man in the league, they want to stand on the blue line and watch the forwards go to work and be in it. You don't want to be battling in your own zone, and I think those two guys together, you've seen it last year, they feed off each other. They're both extremely high-end talent, but very, very good defensively as well, great sticks, and I see them, I'm pretty sure John Stevens isn't going to have to say much. They see who's on the ice, they're going. They know that, so... And it's a challenge for them, and anyone in hockey wants a challenge, and they want to shut down that top line on the top units, on the kill, on the 5-on-5. So I see good things out of them coming.
So the Golden Knights win the first 3 games at home. They go on the road and lose 3, albeit they do pick up a point against the Panthers on Saturday. At what point are you able to really see what a team is? 6 games still early, I would think.
I think it's 6 games. The league. Well, you look at the scores around the league, and teams are winning 8-6, and there's some low-scoring games, but there's a lot more high-scoring games, and that's where the NHL is going. They want more goals and more excitement, but yeah, it takes some time to come together and get going on a nightly basis. You go into Washington, who just lost their home opener. They're hyped up. I'm sure they're not happy losing that. So. You got to get everything going. I thought at home they were extremely good defensively. They didn't give up, very high danger scoring chances, and then they go on the road and, you're playing in the other team's building. They're ready to go, and you don't get the matchups you want every time. I thought they give up a little bit more of that high danger stuff, especially Washington, other than the 2-on-0 goal, that the 3 goals were right inside the house. So there's not much your goaltending can do there. And they were so good at home denying that. And, I think it just, like you said, takes a little bit of time to get up to speed as the teams, and everything kind of even out around the league. Everyone finds their game.
We'll dive in a little bit more to that road trip. We'll look ahead. We'll hear what Bruce Cassidy has to say about the fact that William Karlsson joined the team for practice today. All of that coming up. But first, don't you wish you could keep up with the VGK right at the touch of your screen? Well, now you can with the official mobile app of the Vegas Golden Knights. You can scan, buy, and transfer tickets, play new exclusive games, access live stats, receive game updates, and so much more. The official mobile app of the Vegas Golden Knights is available now on your smartphone through the App Store and Google Play. We'll be right back here on Nighttime at Noon. Welcome back to Nighttime at Noon from City National Arena. Once again, Ashley Vise joined by Deryk Engelland for this one on a Monday with some good news with William Karlsson joining the team for skate. We hope that we will hear Bruce Cassidy talk about that in just a little bit. Maybe he can provide an update on Victor Olofsson as well, who we haven't seen for the last 2 games. So all of that coming up, but want to continue to dive into what we've seen thus far. We've established the fact that it was not the road trip that the Golden Knights had in mind. We talked about the changes that Bruce Cassidy has made to the defensive pairings to help correct some of those problems. His forward lines, though, stay the same as what we saw to end the game in Florida. About 10 minutes into the first period, he made the change to move Tanner Pearson back on the line with Nick Waugh and Keegan Kolesar, and it paid off. He scored his first as a Golden Knight. Keegan Kolesar scored a goal off of a shot from Tanner Pearson a little bit later as well. So, all of that to say, what have you liked about Tanner Pearson? Seems to be a bright spot to this point.
Yeah, no, I thought he was great in camp. He's a guy that I think can slot up and down the lineup when needed. But he plays he's an older guy, so he brings that leadership as well. But he seems like the chemistry with Waugh and Kolesar is picked right up. I think from watching him, he's an easy guy to play with. You can read off him well. He's going to go to the net hard. He's going to get in on the forecheck, and it's a 4-line team. Everyone plays, so you want that fourth line to contribute, and in Florida they did that.
Not as great of a night as we have seen from the top line in Florida of Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, and Ivan Barbashev. But prior to that game, lights out. Best starts of careers for all 3 of them. What have you seen from them to this point? Yeah,
they've been great. I like how they're holding on to pucks a lot more offensively. They're creating the zone time. I don't have the stats exactly, but they have to be in the offensive zone much more than whoever they're playing against, and that's driving their chances and drawing penalties, because they are doing that too. And then they get on the power play, and they're creating a lot more on the power play as well. They're all in the power play, so they're feeding off that. And they're Eichel and Stone are such smart players. I didn't see them playing together. I thought they would be on different lines, but the instant chemistry they had has been awesome to watch, and it's exciting. They both, like you said, are off to career starts, and you're going to have games where you're not feeling it, or the other team's shutting you down, and you got to rely on the other lines. But you're going to see a lot more offensive outbursts from those guys than the other side of that. So I'm excited to keep seeing them play and how much more chemistry they can build.
Is there anything outside of the hockey IQ between the 2 of them that you've seen now that they are playing together that you think, oh, that makes sense that works?
Yeah, just a skill set. Like they both want the puck. I think Stone, one of the smartest players out there. He reads the play extremely well, and then he reads very well off when Jack has a puck, because Jack wants the puck, and he should. He's so good with it. And then you throw Barbashev on there, who's kind of the meat and potatoes of that line. He's going to go in on the forecheck. He's going to go to the net, and he's going to be an option for both of those guys. They can make plays. They can both shoot the puck. We've seen that. So I think they just complement each other on the ice extremely well.
We're used to Jack Eichel being elite. Does it seem next level, at least to be at this level already right off the hop?
Yeah, he's definitely one of those generational talents. He goes first overall if he's not in the same draft class as McDavid, and I'm excited for the year he's already started, and if hopefully everyone stays healthy and they keep rolling that way, and see him have a career year, because I think he deserves it, the way he's come here and the way he plays, not just offensively but the defensive side of their game. They're killing penalties together, starting kill, power play, and then defensively they're always out there for defensive zone draws against the top lines, and so I think that the defensive side maybe gets overlooked, and because they're putting up so much points, but they're so good defensively and reliable in their own zone that it's driving their offense too.
It's funny you say that, because we were talking to Bruce Cassidy about what he's seen out of Cole Schwindt's game. He's been centering that, we've been calling it the kid line or the young line, as he's the oldest one on the line at 23 years old. But Bruce Cassidy was talking about the advice that he's been giving Cole, and it's just watch Jack. And he said, not the offensive side. I obviously don't expect you to do that, but even the defensive side. And we've known that that's an underrated part of Jack's game. But are you seeing it get better and better still?
Oh, every year, go back to the first year, he killed penalties, but I don't think he's the first over the board. Now he's out there first, taking every first draw, and it's a big thing. He's such a good face-off guy too that to win a draw and clear it down, frustrates the power play. So defensively, I think he's done outstanding under Bruce. I know Bruce's game plan is worry about your own end first, and then the offensive will take care of itself. And he's really bought into the way Bruce coaches, I think, and you see it when he's out on the ice in all those key situations.
Bruce Cassidy pointed out that he might be playing him a little bit more than he would like to because of the absence of William Karlsson. What are some of those roles that you feel like he's filling for William Karlsson? You mentioned the penalty kill. I think that's the obvious one, but do you think that it's obviously a team that's deep at center, but do you think that the absence of William Karlsson does add any more responsibility on him?
Yeah, I think you're missing one, like you said, one of your key centermen in the PK situation or defensive situations that, maybe you're jumping to Jack a little more than you'd like. Is the score of the game part of that too, where he has to play more? They've led a lot, but it's been really tight games. So, when the other team's making a push, they're playing their top line. Well, who's going out to try to shut them down? It's Jack's line. So, you got to play all that into fact why he's getting played more. And if they have a 2 or 3 goal lead, maybe he can throw out other lines instead of Jack's line. But in a 1 goal game, you want that next goal. So, it's not ideal to play a forward. I don't think 22, 23 minutes every night, but I don't think Jack's complaining either on the other side.
No, Bruce said it might honestly be helping him out just to get those touches, more and more. He's definitely a guy that feeds off that. The good news, I guess, for Bruce, if he does feel like he's playing him a little bit too much, is that some of that burden might be taken off of him soon, because William Karlsson joined the team in a red non-contact sweater for everyone who's just tuning in. So we'll get an update from Bruce Cassidy on that front soon. Want to talk around the league a little bit. The Winnipeg Jets, still undefeated, 5-0-0 to start the season for the first time in their franchise history. Did you expect that?
I mean, I didn't really think about them as being the only undefeated team in the league right now. I don't think it's far-fetched. They got one of the best goalies in the league who, if he's playing at the top of his game, which he has been, he can go out and win a game for a team even if they're not playing well. So it's not, I don't think it's too outrageous. Yeah. It's 5 games. But
they were solid last regular season as well, 110 points.
Yeah, so it's not, they had made some changes and stuff. I don't think it's crazy that they're off to a 5-0 start.
I will say 24 goals over the 5 games, so that's almost 5 goals a game. And they've only allowed 8 goals, so less than 2 goals a game. So on both sides, things are looking pretty good for the Winnipeg Jets to start things off. Not the case for the Nashville Predators, who are yet to win a game. They've lost all 5 in regulation to this point. A lot of additions came for them in the offseason. It takes some time to adjust to those new additions, but does the winless stat through 5 games surprise you? Yeah,
that would be a little more surprising, just the pieces they've added. But like you said, it takes some time. I remember in Pittsburgh when I forget what year it was, a long time ago now, we acquired Engelland and Brendan Morrow and Douglas Murray, a whole bunch of big name guys, and everyone's saying, "I'll give them the cup now," and we got swept by Boston in the second round. So sometimes it takes some time to get used to the new additions, especially when it's not like you're filling in your 4th line, your 3rd line. It's all top end guys. So to find that chemistry that guys that have played together for a long time already have, sometimes takes a little longer than you expect. Like you said in St. Louis, when they made all those changes, they were last in the entire
last in the league in January,
and then they win the cup. So will it take that long for those guys to gel? I doubt it, but it's definitely surprising to me.
What's interesting is that St. Louis team, the big acquisitions that year, Ryan O'Reilly was the biggest, Pat Maroon was on that list, Tyler Bozak was on that list, a couple of others probably, but now Ryan O'Reilly is in the Nashville locker room with that experience, so you think that's something that he's probably passing along to his teammates there. But I'm curious, you talk about the chemistry part of it, but does the outside noise and the outside pressure play a role? You mentioned that, for that Pittsburgh team, people were saying, give them the cup now. That's what a lot of people were saying about the Nashville Predators coming into this year. I think about the Boston Bruins regular season a couple years ago. That was the best regular season in NHL history, and everyone thought, it's their time, and then they made a first-round exit. Do you feel like that outside pressure makes an impact?
I think the outside pressure and then losing a couple games maybe makes it the snowball effect a little more magnified, because you want to snap out it as quick as possible because you did make all these massive moves and additions, and it just, you get in that, you don't have that chemistry which you need to come out of that skid, and they got a lot of veterans. Ryan O'Reilly's been through it, so you expect them, I think, to come out of it sooner than later.
Utah off to a good start as well. I'm curious, are you like, we talked a little bit about how it's too early to really judge teams. What do you think is a fair time? Are you like a American Thanksgiving is the right time to assess a team? What do you feel is fair?
Yeah, I think by Thanksgiving, definitely if you're out of it by then.
Canadian Thanksgiving's too early. That was last week.
That was gone already. I think by Thanksgiving you have a pretty good handle on where your team's at and what you need to improve on and fix for the next 4 months of the season. I think the NHL, the first couple months, you look at the scores around the league and it's a little more wide open. Mm-hmm. I think a couple months in, everyone gets their structure in place and starts playing a little more defensively and figures out their role a little more. So I think it's still a little early to tell who's who's in and out right now.
So teams still want to build, still want to trend in the right direction, but maybe don't, hit any panic buttons for any team until American Thanksgiving. On that topic, though, I'm curious, do you celebrate both Canadian and American Thanksgiving each year?
I used to when I played because there were so many guys. Now I always forget. I got 2 young kids, so in October it's all about Halloween.
Yeah.
My wife usually has to remind me, hey, text your family. It's Canadian Thanksgiving today, and my parents' anniversary. It's usually the same weekend.
God bless Melissa.
And I forget both of them, so it's I guess a bad Canadian and son. But
is there anything that's part of Canadian Thanksgiving food-wise that's not part of American Thanksgiving?
We always did ham and turkey.
Okay.
Where it's more just turkey down here.
Yeah.
For us, it was roughly the same, other than adding the ham in there as well.
What is your have-to-have side and your absolutely not side?
Well, you got to have gravy over everything.
Everything.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, mashed potatoes and stuffing.
Okay.
And, it just adds a little more. I'm not a big cranberry person at all.
It has to be done the right way.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't like it at all.
I used to not, and my mother-in-law makes this marshmallow fluff. It's like, it's cranberries, but there's marshmallow thrown in there. It makes it very sweet. And I'm
that might be better.
I guess I can handle that. It's basically a dessert, more or less.
I like desserts. So
yes.
It's probably a little better.
Since you mentioned Halloween costumes?
My youngest is Deadpool.
Okay.
And my oldest, I think he's a toy soldier this year.
Nice.
So.
Good ideas for anyone listening needing some kid Halloween costumes. Okay. I guess we can get back on track after this break. But first, Lee's Family Forum is home to a one-stop shop full of entertainment. From live entertainment to being the home to the Henderson Silver Knights, you have a wide selection of family fun. To keep up to date on all the ongoing events happening, head over to leesfamilyforum.com and plan out your events today. We hear from Bruce Cassidy when we come back here on Nighttime at Noon. Welcome back to Nighttime at Noon on this Monday. We'll be hearing from Bruce Cassidy soon on his updates on both William Karlsson and Victor Olofsson, so stay tuned for that. But want to talk, Deryk, about a very fun event that's coming up earlier in the season than it usually does, and that is the VGK Gala. So mark your calendars, everybody, because the team's annual charity gala is back and better than ever. If you're ready for a night of glamour, fun, and opportunity to support our local community, then this is the event for you. A Golden Night Gala will be held at Fontainebleau for the first time ever. Attendees will experience live entertainment, as well as appearances by VGK players, coaches, and front office staff. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $500, so don't miss out on this dazzling night. For more information, head over to the VGK website, and we'll see you there. Deryk, I know this is an event that you are always part of, and the coolest thing that really happens all year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a little more relaxed with the players and stuff. You don't get the chance to interact with them outside of this and maybe the golf tournament, but that's only the 4 people golfing with that player, really. So it's a fun time. It's a fun night. I'm excited because it'll be my first time at the Fontainebleau. So
yes,
I'm excited for that, to see that. And, it always goes to amaze what they end up, Kim and her team, putting it all together. And it's always an amazing time.
It's always so Vegas.
It is.
Like I'm sure that you did with your other teams back in your playing days, a lot of community events. It's different here, is it not?
Yeah, the gala is, in Calgary they had a kind of like a gala after the golf tournament, and then they had a big poker tournament halfway through the year, and they kind of mixed. They were a lot of fun too, but this is the lights and the glamour of Vegas put into a gala. It's always like a lot of fun, and I enjoy going to it every year.
So everybody, look into tickets. Fontainebleau, new location. I'll be there. Deryk will be there. All the players will be there. Let's be honest. That's what you're really coming for. And Deryk.
Wow.
Deryk's man of the people here in Las Vegas.
I don't know about that, but
I do.
It's fun.
No, I do for sure. So as the Golden Knights look to get back on track, they do it with an important game tomorrow against the Los Angeles Kings, a divisional matchup. Can it be good after a tough road trip like that to be thrown into a game that's in no way a trap game, a game that's important? How can they benefit from just that matchup?
Yeah, you're coming in knowing that you're playing LA, who you've had a rival since day one here. So getting off a tough road trip, coming home and being able to play them, I think is a much better situation than maybe playing one of the bottom teams right now, or the teams that are in a rebuild where it's a little tougher to get up for. Maybe you come out without your foot on the gas a little bit and just dip your toes in, and against a team like LA, who, I slot them in the top 3 of the division this year when we were doing it earlier on one of the shows. So it's definitely a game it's easier to get up for, and you got to be ramped up, especially after the road trip you just had. So I would prefer to play a game like that than one that maybe some guys are dipping their toes in and not as up for, I guess you could say. Is
there something about LA that gives you that belief in them that they'll make a good run this year?
I think just the continuation of a rivalry over the 8 years, that first year in the playoffs, and then obviously you have San Jose, but they're kind of in a rebuild, so that rivalry has kind of died down. And LA's, it's kind of like Edmonton and Calgary. It's not far off down the road, and two, I guess you say, elite teams in this division facing off. So it's always a fun game to watch. They're always intense, and it's, like I said, it's an easy game for the players to get up for.
It's a late game. Speaking of getting up, you'll have to stay up. 8 p.m. Puck drop's probably going to be closer to 8:20. Little inside info for everyone. It's going to be a late game. Give me the insight on what those late games are like for players.
It's I wasn't a big fan. Here it's a little different because, if you want to get dinner after, everything's open here at 24 hours. But, I just wanted to get to the game and get it going. I wasn't a long napper, especially at the end of my career. Maybe when I was a young kid, I napped a little more, and I would take advantage of that. But, when you get older and the 45-minute naps are all you need, it's a lot of downtime getting ready to just antsy. I got antsy and just wanted to get there, so I you'd leave for the rink extra early and stuff and have a lot of downtime, and I'd rather just get into the game and play.
So you never fully eliminated the afternoon nap from your game day routine. It just got shorter.
Yeah, just cut down.
Do you know many people who completely were non-nappers?
Man, throwing me on the spot now.
Well, no, I ask. So Aiden Hill.
There's some guys, yeah.
Will not take it. Does not do pregame naps. It makes him
Yeah.
groggy. But I would think for someone like
Goalies.
him, especially, that late start
Goal, yeah.
probably not fun. Both
Goal-
sides have it.
Goal,
obviously.
yeah. I'd probably say goalies probably a little more, but I guess some players never did.
Goalies are always different.
Yeah, goalies
Right?
are. Yeah. They're out there in the entire game. They got to be dialed in so you got to do what works for them. But a few guys that I know, I guess I didn't ask if guys napped. You just
You don't
assume
ask
when they go
those.
back to the hotel, they're gonna go take a nap or
You
whatnot,
don't ask those
but-
personal questions like
Yeah.
me. I just dig in and ask, ask the
I
details of
I
everybody's
just try
life.
to worry about me. So I guess
Stay in your lane. That's a
Yeah,
good thing. I struggle
exactly.
with that.
Hey.
I struggle with that.
no, but you got to find out stuff so we can talk about it.
Speaking of finding out things, I believe we are ready to hear from Bruce Cassidy. Let's hear what the head coach has to say.
Step 1 was getting out on his own. Step 2 now with a red jersey. Step 3 will be integrating and then playing. So not ready yet, but step closer, which is good. He looks good.
Probably closer to the end of the homestand, you think? Or maybe it's
Well, that I don't know. I would hope. Usually when they're in red, they're fairly close. So I'll rule them out tomorrow, and I won't for Friday. We have 2 days or 2.5 days to decide between.
when you're making the switches from deep pairs this early, is it more a wake-up call, or are you just trying to find it?
I'd say in a nutshell, I don't think we've been good enough back there. Is it the pairs? Is it the D? Is it the forwards not helping? It's not just 6 players, right? So, but there's some of the stuff I've seen, I think changing the pairs might get some guys going, and we could revisit this later. There's really no newness to what we're doing, so it's not like always panicking, throwing everything against the wall. Like Haig and Whitecloud have played together forever, so have Naber and Theo. The Hanif and Petro was a little bit last year. He's new to the equation, Hanny, so let's find the best spot for him and what's best for the 3 pairs. So that it's as simple as that right now.
With Carlson getting close to coming back, you obviously have planned when he was in the lineup. Do you still consider going back to that, despite how well that top line was played there?
Yeah, I think what we'd do is put him in and see, and probably get him going a little bit before we worried about necessarily get his game in order. I mean, he's missed a lot of time, so and work around what we're doing. I think that would be the easiest thing right away. It could be Stoney there, but I would guess let's get Carly up to speed where his game is where it usually is, and then we'll start to figure out where the pieces fit best. I think that would be the easiest way for him.
What's the latest on Victor Olofsson?
Olafson's week to week.
Back to Carlson. When you arrived, you kind of said that you didn't know much about his game. Does it suggest that he's a little underappreciated there?
Oh, I would think so. I do. Having said that, it's a tough one until you start asking around. I think his first year when he was at 43 goals, so a very well-known commodity. Then maybe because he didn't match that, he becomes a little more of what you're talking about. Whether people know how good he checks or not, I would think that'd be out there. They've seen him, they've watched him. The stats dictate that. I know when I talked to Torts, was it last year in Philly, and he had him, I think, way back in Columbus. Anyway, he always thought he was a really good checking player. He didn't see the goals in him, right? And he got 30 last year, so sometimes it takes a while for that. But he recognized his ability to check and contribute in the lineup in that way. So I don't know if the other coaches feel that way, but I would guess in general, yes, Gary. Is it sometimes the West Coast bias when you're not up watching them as much or not? I don't know, but I would say at the end of the day, then you start playing behind Eichel, and you're not on one of those dominant lines. Then I could see where you could slide under the radar.
What's your missile?
Well, you've seen our game, right? I think he could put out a lot of fires. Helps in every area of the ice. So you take a player out that plays in all situations. You take a player out that can make these younger wingers a little more secure in what they're doing and learn on the job. It affects you, right? And that was what I think we missed that more out of him than anything, his ability to make people around him better and get them comfortable. And we saw that with a young Pav over the years before I got here. And we were thinking about that with whoever, whether it was still Pav or Holtz or whoever the case may be. So that's where I think, we miss a player like him.
What do you see from LA as you're preparing for the match?
Well, I've been focused on our team. I'm not going to lie. I'll do my work today on LA, this afternoon, tonight. Yesterday was a lot of looking at video and what went wrong on this trip. Why weren't we able to get to the finish line in certain games? What are we going to do about it? So we did a lot of stuff this morning, separate groups on the areas. So I'll be perfectly honest. There's lots of pre-scout stuff there on it. I saw them in training camp, a different style with a new coaching staff. So I know that has changed. Who's driving their team or not, I can guess who their top guys are, but I have not seen a lot of them, but I will today.
Was there a common theme that jumped out watching the video, especially the last couple of games where you couldn't get to the finish line?
Well, I think our checking game is not in order. And what is that? Is that we're not working above pucks? Are we diving down as a third forward, giving up odd man rushes? And then are we not choking off those odd man rushes early before they become odd man rushes with good gaps, right? That's a big part of our rush defense. Certainly in Tampa, one of the best in the league, especially with their top line. So that's not going to be an automatic fix. They are good at what they do. Florida's more of a forecheck team, so we should have done a better job controlling some of that. I think our breakout execution wasn't as good in Florida. Something we need to get going a little more gauche north. And I think we have the ability in our back end to do that. I think they're deferring too much, looking for their partner instead of maybe just playing up ice. So I think as the game went on, we started flipping a few pucks out and try to get going a little bit that way, trying to win some neutral zone battles and alleviated some of the stress in our end. And that's a bit of the new NHL. A lot of teams are doing that, and we've played a certain way, and that might be something we have to start stretching our wingers out a little more, especially younger guys that are still learning their way on the walls, right? We relied on wall battles around here for years because we were very good at it. Now you throw some younger guys in there, they're still learning the ropes that maybe the wall battles should be farther out or foot races in the neutral zone. So that's something we looked at that I think can be an adjustment we can make to help younger wingers that are still growing in to being men.
Would you characterize today's practice then as a reset?
Yes. Great call.
You had a couple of challenges on the line changes during that road trip. What's the dialogue?
Well, we absolutely had one where Brett Howard just jumped on the ice, and we've talked about it, and he thought it was a forward coming. So, I mean, I'm not on Brett Howard, and it's like we all were a little bit, and now you start screaming him, it's too late, right? Now you get the attention of the linesman. He just said he messed up. He thought it was a forward that came when they iced it. He thought, I think Jack was coming, and he didn't. But we also have coaches on the bench that can sort of grab them, so we have to do our part there. But that's one that the lack of focus, right? There were some other ones where the D thought the puck was getting deep, and it didn't. So there's a trust there you got to have, right? And we lacked a bit of that in the road. We got to trust that puck's getting deep, so our D can get the hell off and get fresh legs out there, right? And that's when you see the D ones that are sometimes in between. It's usually a puck that we assume is getting deep that doesn't. And then now they're scrambling back. So there was definitely some of those on the back end. There was one at home against, was it Anaheim? I think that happened. So that's early season things that we need to correct. And a little bit of that is just playing in sync with one another. Details I look at.
This is really interesting. The one in DC, did it hit the linesman?
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, well, that did hit the linesman, and they came back, and we thought it was in. So that one was a puck that got by their players, so our guys just go to the bench, and it did hit the linesman. That's right. I forgot about the one in DC.
That was not bad change, right?
I wouldn't call that a bad change. I would call that a puck that hits a guy in play that is part of the play that you would hope would get the hell out of the way when he sees it coming, so that, because those plays happen a lot, instead of waving off 5 icings in a row that everyone's looking at each other on both teams, to be perfectly honest. But that's the one that went against. That's a bit of puck luck. And it was puck luck the whole way down. I think they knocked it out of the air. I think Hilly defended the 2-on-1 with Chikrin and whoever it was, and he still knocked it out of the air. So that was two other ones in that game went in off Naber's stick when he's trying to close. So that was a little unfortunate for Hilly, to be honest with you. Those pucks changed directions. Still preventable mistakes that led to those chances. But yes, that was one. I think there was the one in Tampa too, hit the ref coming around the boards where Theo started to go in, hits the ref, it goes back, and then it comes out to him and he's in an awkward position. We gave up a 2-on-1. But, that was nothing to do with the official. It was deeper in the zone where it hit him. And if it doesn't hit him, it probably comes around to Theo. But again, those happen. I think Hanny hit the guy's skates one day in the PK, right, against a little while ago, goes to clear it. So they're part of the play. And it happens both ways. And you got to be mindful of it.
And that was Bruce Cassidy. Apologies, having some audio issues there. So we will be right back. We'll talk about what the head coach had to say when we come back at Nighttime at Noon. On Nighttime. Well, things winding down here on Nighttime at Noon on this Monday. Only one NHL game on the schedule tonight. It's a good one, though. Tampa Bay Lightning at Toronto Maple Leafs. But tomorrow, Deryk, all 32 teams play 16 games total. Frozen Frenzy.
It's going to be a lot of hockey to watch.
It's going to be a lot of
people.
hockey.
Yeah, no,
yep.
It's, I think last year was a big hit. So
yeah.
It'll be fun. If got nothing going on, just throw a hockey game on and kind of watch in the background.
And even if you do, pull it up on your phone. What's your favorite way to take in a hockey game now that you're not playing? How do you like to watch if you're not working?
If I'm not at the game?
Yes. Or, I mean, I guess going to the game is a good answer.
I can watch better at home.
Yeah.
I pay more attention because there's a lot talking to people and
yeah.
but the experience is it's tough because the experience at the game is so much better than
Yep.
sitting at home. But probably I can watch the game more closely at
And
home.
4 home games, which I'm assuming you'll be at T-Mobile Arena for all of them, so maybe you won't be able to pay as close of attention. But before they go to LA next week, so these teams face each other again next week, so you kind of wonder also if this kind of sets a standard, first time they're meeting of the regular season, and they meet again a week later, maybe a chance for some physicality and things to boil over.
Yeah, usually I think the NHL does a good job of, I was looking at the schedule. They play Utah 3 times in November, so I think they do a good job grouping to get that rivalry going a little more, to pump it up a little bit. So I think it's definitely a game tomorrow night that you can set the tone leading into the next one.
And again, 8 o'clock start. We will have a pregame show on Script Sports and your Nighttime Plus app at 7:30. That will be myself and Shane Knighty. So shameless plug there, I guess. The game will be on ESPN. So 8 o'clock start tomorrow. Don't forget that. And you're just going to have to really look at your calendar this week because Friday is Nevada Day. So it's a 3 p.m. start. We also want everyone to wear white for that one.
Yes.
You have like an all-white suit or anything you can bust out?
No, I haven't bought a suit in a long time, so I probably should.
You should add all white just for the Nevada Day
Nevada
vibes.
Day one?
Yeah, and
Could
then
do
maybe if you ever make a game out, in Florida, you can get, I don't know, throw a pink shirt under there.
Yeah, something.
Some Miami Vice
Yeah,
vibes.
there
I
you
don't
go.
know. Okay, so just to recap everything that happened today. William Karlsson joined the team in a red non-contact sweater. Bruce Cassidy has ruled him out for tomorrow, but not beyond that. So that's good news. Victor Olofsson is week to week. Forward lines are the same as what we saw to end the game in Florida. D pairs, I guess different, but similar to what we've seen in previous years on this team. What are you looking forward to most this week after all this good news to start on a Monday?
Well, just a chance to rebound after a tough road trip. Get back home in front of the crowd at the Fortress and playing a rival team.
There's nothing better than hockey at T-Mobile Arena on the Las Vegas Strip. And this was Nighttime at Noon. For Deryk Engelland, I'm Ashali Vise. We'll see you here next week.